Stop scrolling. Right now, close your eyes for just a moment and imagine the last meal you had. Truly picture it. The colors, the textures, the smells. Now, tell me, was it a vivid memory, or just a fleeting blur of movement, a necessary pit stop between one digital distraction and the next? If it was the latter, brace yourself. We need to talk. What if I told you that the way you eat is silently, subtly, but profoundly sabotaging your health, your happiness, and even your future self? Sounds dramatic, I know. We're all so busy, aren't we? Our modern, hyper-efficient lives demand equally efficient eating. Why savor a sunset when you can get a time-lapse? Why chew diligently when you can just ingest? We treat our food like a download, a necessary data packet to fuel the next task. But here's the unsettling truth: your body isn't an efficient machine, it's an intricate, ancient biological symphony, and you're constantly skipping movements. Have you ever considered that the greatest culinary invention isn't some exotic spice blend or molecular gastronomy marvel, but simply time? The humble, often overlooked, minutes we allocate to the very act of nourishment? We boast about our high-tech gadgets, our instantaneous communication, our ability to juggle 5 tasks at once, yet when it comes to the most fundamental interaction with our environment, eating, we rush it like a forgotten chore. We wolf down lunches standing over the sink, gulp dinner while scrolling through endless feeds, and grab breakfast as a frantic dash out the door. But what are we truly gaining from this breakneck pace, beyond a persistent feeling of being slightly unsatisfied, always a little bloated, and perpetually wondering where all the joy went? Do you remember the subtle, sweet aroma of your meal before you even took the first bite? The delicate crunch of a perfectly roasted vegetable, the nuanced tang of a well-aged cheese, the slow melt of chocolate on your tongue? Or are these sensations increasingly muted, overshadowed by the urgency of the next email, the lure of the next notification, the relentless drumbeat of more, faster, now? We've trained ourselves to eat mindlessly, a programmed automaton performing a basic function. We shovel food in, often barely tasting it, certainly not appreciating it, and then wonder why our stomach churns, why our energy dips, why that full feeling never quite arrives until we've eaten far too much. It's almost as if our bodies are trying to tell us something, a persistent, rumbling complaint from deep within, but we're too busy to listen, aren't we? When did eating transform from a deliberate ritual into a frantic race against an invisible clock? We've become experts at ignoring our body's subtle cues, dismissing its gentle nudges as inconveniences. That tiny voice whispering, "Hey, maybe I'm satisfied," gets drowned out by the internal monologue screaming, "Clean your plate. There's still so much left. Don't waste it." We've replaced intuition with an external rulebook, a cultural mandate to consume, 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 and do it quickly. It's as if we're perpetually running away from the very thing designed to sustain us, treating food not as a sacred offering, but as a potential enemy to be conquered, devoured before it conquers us. The irony is, by rushing, we are indeed letting it conquer us, slowly, insidiously. Consider this: your brain's satiety centers, those intricate neural networks responsible for signaling "I'm full," require roughly 20 minutes from the start of a meal for hormones like leptin and ghrelin to properly communicate their message. This isn't an arbitrary timer, it's a finely tuned biological delay, a necessary grace period that most of us blast past with the enthusiasm of a hungry toddler at a birthday party. We finish our entire meal in 10, maybe 15 minutes, then sit there wondering why we still feel a phantom hunger, reaching for seconds before our body has even had a chance to confirm it needs them. It's like asking your friend for an answer to a complex math problem, but then hanging up before they've even finished calculating it, only to call them again complaining you never got the solution. And what about the sheer mechanical act of eating? Chewing. Remember that? It's not just for breaking down food. In a fascinating twist of digestive alchemy, the stomach acid levels actually begin to reduce in effectiveness if food isn't properly chewed and sufficiently mixed with saliva, forcing your digestive system to work harder and less efficiently, akin to running a finely tuned engine on watered-down, low-octane fuel. You're not just rushing your meal, you're actively making your body's job harder, turning a smooth, graceful operation into a grunting, struggling battle. It's like sending your digestive system into a war zone with inadequate weaponry, all because you couldn't spare an extra minute or two for a proper chewing battalion. Have you ever stopped to think about the evolutionary implications of this gastronomic sprint? In a fascinating twist of evolutionary biology, early humans often spent significantly longer on meals, not just due to tougher food, but because the act of eating was a communal, sensory event, intertwining survival with social bonding, a stark contrast to our solitary, device-driven gulps. We've detached the profound significance of nourishment from its biological and communal roots. We've forgotten that eating isn't just about nutrient intake, it's about connection to our food, to our bodies, and to each other. We're trading millennia of ingrained biological wisdom for the dubious promise of an extra 5 minutes of perceived productivity. So, what's the grand, earth-shattering answer to all these self-inflicted culinary calamities? It's deceptively simple, almost embarrassingly so: eat mindfully. Eat slowly. It sounds like something your grandmother would tell you, right before she offered you another slice of pie. But beneath that folksy wisdom lies a profound biological truth. When you slow down, when you truly engage with your meal, your digestive system finally gets the memo. Saliva production increases, enzymes activate, and your stomach acid levels prepare for their crucial task. You're not just shoveling, you're preparing your body for optimal digestion, like a skilled conductor warming up an orchestra before a grand performance. This isn't just about avoiding an upset stomach, though that's a delightful bonus. It's about retraining your brain. By giving those all-important hormones like leptin, the I'm full signal, and ghrelin, the I'm hungry signal, the time they need to communicate, you begin to re-establish a healthy, intuitive dialogue with your body. You learn what true hunger feels like, and more importantly, what true satisfaction feels like: a quiet contentment, not an overstuffed agony. You start eating in response to your body's actual needs, rather than the clock, the plate, or the seductive siren call of an emotional craving. It's a return to self-governance, a liberation from the tyranny of external food rules and internal, unexamined habits. Think of it this way: every rushed bite is a missed opportunity, a fragment of sensory experience lost forever, a tiny wound inflicted on your digestive peace. Every time you eat mindlessly, you're reinforcing a pattern of disconnection, teaching your body that its signals don't matter, that its wisdom is secondary to your haste. You're building a relationship with food based on obligation and speed, rather than pleasure and intuition. And what kind of relationship is that, really? One that inevitably leads to resentment, to dissatisfaction, and to a body that increasingly feels like a stranger, a vehicle constantly breaking down, because its driver refuses to learn the manual. The path back to intuitive eating isn't paved with complicated diets or restrictive rules. It's paved with presence. It's about putting down the phone, turning off the TV, and simply being with your food. Not as a punishment, but as an act of radical self-care. It's noticing the vibrant colors, appreciating the distinct aromas, feeling the texture on your tongue, truly savoring each mouthful. It's about taking a breath, a genuine pause, before you reach for that next forkful. It's about tuning into the subtle whispers of your stomach, the gentle shifts in your energy, the gradual easing of hunger, rather than waiting for the loud, undeniable shout of discomfort. This deliberate act of slowing down, of engaging your senses, transforms a mundane necessity into a profound experience. It reduces bloating, improves nutrient absorption, and helps you naturally regulate your weight without ever counting a single calorie. But more powerfully, it rewires your brain, fostering a deeper, more trusting relationship with your body. You're no longer battling your cravings, you're understanding them. You're no longer fearing food, you're embracing it as a source of energy, pleasure, and vital information about yourself. It's a quiet revolution, fought one bite at a time. But there's a darker current here, one that whispers from the shadowed corners of our rushed existence. What if this constant disengagement, this willful ignorance of our body's ancient wisdom, is doing more than just causing indigestion? What if by consistently overriding our biological signals, we are, perhaps irrevocably, dulling our internal compass? Imagine a future where the sensation of true hunger or profound satisfaction becomes so foreign, so utterly forgotten, that we can no longer distinguish it from an arbitrary craving or a fleeting emotional void. A future where our bodies become mere vessels for data input, and the intricate dance of digestion, hormones, and consciousness is reduced to a clumsy, mechanical transaction. A future where we've perfected the art of consumption without ever truly experiencing sustenance. The silence of a satisfied gut might be the loudest warning you'll ever ignore.